Here's a scenario. A runaway trolley is speeding down a track. Ahead, 5 people are tied to the track and can't move. You are standing next to a lever that can switch the trolley onto another track, but on that second track, there's 1 person tied down. You have 2 options and 10 seconds to decide. Do nothing, and the trolley kills 5 people, or pull the lever, diverting the trolley, killing 1 person, but saving 5. What would you do? And more importantly, what is the right thing to do? The answer? The topic of discussion, the trolley problem. So, the trolley problem is a classic thought experiment designed to explore the nature of morality, decision-making, and the value of human life. Option number 1, you pull the lever, diverting the trolley, killing 1 person, but saving 5. The first point uses utilitarian logic. It's outcome-based, right? The morally right choice is the one that minimizes harm. Saving 5 lives at the cost of 1 produces the greatest overall good, a net reduction in suffering. Essentially, this logic believes you should hold yourself responsible to the net outcome. If your action can serve the, quote, greater good, and we define the greater good as minimizing the number of lives lost, then pulling the lever seems to be the correct choice, mathematically speaking. But again, this solely looks at things from a mathematical point of view. The responsibility logic is causal efficiency. If you have the ability to change the outcome for the better, inaction becomes a form of moral participation. Pulling the lever fulfills your responsibility to prevent greater loss when it's within your power. So this shifts it towards the question of responsibility. By being able to save 5 lives, pulling the lever allows you to prevent the greater loss. And not only is this the mathematically correct option, but it's also your responsibility now, right? At least that's what option 1 believes. By you being in this situation, next to the lever, this side would argue that you have a moral obligation to pull it. The third point is the impartial value logic, or equality of persons. Each life has equal worth, therefore saving the greater number treats everyone's life as equally significant. You're not valuing 1 person less, you're preventing more total harm. This, in essence, is the core of this argument. Each life is equal in worth, thus 5 is worth more than 1. But what if it wasn't? What if it was 5 random people on one side and the most important person in your life on the left side? Would your logic change? That's the hard part with this option. The moment you start trying to logically justify why one option is worth more than the other, the issue becomes a complex, subjective scenario because it depends on where you're standing. From the victim's point of view, the moment you pull that lever, this shifts from a malfunction gone wrong to a murder. And this opens up a can of worms because, well, would you hold yourself accountable? Legally? Morally? I mean, does any of this change things? The answer? It's complicated. Which leads us to option number 2. You do nothing, and the trolley kills 5 people. The first piece of logic is action versus inaction. Actively causing a death is morally different from allowing a death to occur. By not pulling the lever, you avoid direct participation in killing, even if the outcome is worse. This argument leans towards the other side, saying you are morally obligated to avoid killing anyone, regardless of the math. By pulling the lever, you are influencing the death of someone's life, and this is morally forbidden. So this logic would suggest that you do nothing. You have to sit back and let it play out, because this, in essence, keeps your hands clean, which leads me to the next point, the moral purity logic, or the clean hands principle. Pulling the lever makes you the agent of someone's death. So while doing nothing may feel tragic, it preserves your moral integrity. You did not cause harm, you merely failed to prevent it. This essentially says that because of the nature of the scenario, there is nothing you can do, and therefore you must do nothing. If it's already gotten to this point, right, where you have 10 seconds to choose, there's no time to do anything else, you couldn't prevent it, so on and so forth, then you simply sit still and let life play its course. But this is fascinating because it implies that inaction keeps your hands clean. By not pulling the lever, you are somehow protected from sin, from committing a crime. But from the perspectives of the victims on the track, would they see it the same way? That's the question, right? Or would they see your hands as dirty? The logic may protect you legally because you didn't actually make the decision. But from a certain perspective, this could be seen as the wrong decision. Maybe from the victim's family's perspective. Inaction would be seen as a mistake, and one that resulted in the loss of people's lives. true definition of a lose-lose scenario. Third point is the uncertainty logic, or the limits of your own knowledge. You cannot predict the long-term outcomes. Perhaps the one person would have gone on to save many lives. By refraining, you avoid presuming control over a moral calculus that you cannot fully know. This is essentially saying that you do not possess the wisdom to know the grand calculus of the universe, right? Therefore, it is neither your responsibility nor your place to make the call. Once it's gotten to this point where someone is dying, regardless of what you do, it's your moral obligation to avoid taking control of a scenario that wasn't yours to influence. Essentially, it's not your cross to bear. It would be God for me, or maybe another higher being or beings for you, depending on where your spiritual beliefs may lie. And for some of you, maybe you don't believe in a higher being. So maybe there is no one to share the blame with you, right? It's just you. So you may feel as if it is solely your responsibility and no one else's. And that has to be taken into consideration. Everyone's perspectives are different, which leads me to my final idea. It's a hypothetical. Obviously, hypotheticals are basically unanswerable. That's the whole point. It's a thought experiment designed to foster a discussion of ideas and to weigh different principles and outcomes in hopes of understanding the nature of morality, the value of human life, and decision making. But it's important to understand that this, more often than not, is how most scenarios exist. It's not always black and white. So when we end this video, and just in general, it's important to be a calm thinker, an attentive listener, and an empathetic human being if we are to solve complex issues, whether that be in the workplace, at home, or one-on-one. Most things in life are vague and require thinking to make the best of the moment, but thinking is hard. So it's up to us to ask the hard questions and to be okay with not necessarily knowing the right answer. That's the fun part. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Hi, Bubba. Oh, okay. Come here, other side. Come here. Up. Tell them to subscribe, or you will bite them. Not my mic.